this first polynomial is in standard format. It starts with the highest exponent, w to the 2, and then here we have a w, which is assumed w to the 1. When you don't have an exponent on a variable, it's actually a 1. And now in the second term, it's not in standard format. So we have to rewrite that. So we change that. We take the minus 12w squared first. This is the highest exponent in this. And then we add 5w, which is a w to the 1. So we have an exponent of 2 in the first term, an exponent of 1 in the second. And then we take the constant last, 10. So now we've got it in standard format. Okay. Now to add this, we can do it horizontally or vertically. Now if we were going to do this vertically, we have to line up the exponential terms. So the first 4w squared plus 6w minus 10. And then the second one we'll put underneath it. So underneath this term we have minus 12w squared. We have 5w, and then we have a plus 10. Now keep in mind we're adding these two polynomials, so we can add these two lines. So 4w squared plus minus 12w squared gives us a minus 8w squared. We have a plus 6w, and we have a plus 5w. That gives us a plus 11w. And then we have a minus 10 and a plus 10. Minus 10 plus 10 is 0. So it would be a 0 down here, which really wouldn't count. So there's our answer for adding these two polynomials. Now, let's say we add them horizontally. So in that case, we can just go across here. Of course, we had to first put it in the right standard format, which we did in this second line. So it's in the correct order. Now we take the 4w squared and the minus 12w squared, and those two combined give us a minus 8w squared. Then we take the 6w and we go over horizontally, plus a 5w. We're combining like terms. So 6w plus 5w is 11w. Minus 10 plus 10 is 0. So again, the 0 doesn't matter. So then horizontally, we come up with the same thing as we did vertically. Just two different ways to visualize it. Alright, I'd like to do one more example for you. So we have two new issues here. One is we're subtracting instead of adding, not too big a deal. And the other is that we have a cubed term and an exponent to the 1. Over here we have a cubed term and an exponent squared. And we don't have an exponent to the first power. So it's going to be really important that we line these up correctly. So I'm going to do this vertically. Alright, and the other thing is they are in standard format. The highest exponent first, and then to the 1, and then a constant. Highest exponent, next highest, and a constant. So I'll start with the cubed term. I have 10z cubed, and then I have no x squared term, and then I have a constant term, 8z to the 1, and then I have a constant. So notice I left a placeholder here for the x squared term, which I don't have in this first polynomial. Now I'm going to subtract the second set, and we have an 8z cubed, and we do have a squared term in this case. So we have a 4z squared. We don't have a z to the 1 term, so we'll just put a placeholder there for that one. And then we have a 10, a constant. Now we're going to subtract this whole thing. which is the same as adding a negative of each term. But we'll leave it this way. So we have 10z cubed minus an 8z cubed gives us 2z cubed. Then we have nothing here, minus a 4z squared. So minus 4z squared results. We have an 8z in the top and nothing down here. So we just end up with 8z. 8z minus nothing is 8z. We have a minus 14 in the top, minus a 10 gives us a minus 24. So that's our final answer when we subtract the second polynomial from the first. We could do this horizontally, but I think when we have terms that aren't the same, vertically is a little clearer. If we were going to do this horizontally, we would take 10z cubed minus 8z cubed, which would give us the 2z cubed left. And then we would look, and we don't have the square term, so you really got to think about what you're doing if you're doing it horizontally. So nothing over here, minus the 4z squared. We have an 8z. We don't have just a z to the 1 term in the second one, so it's just 8z. We have a minus 14 and our constant, minus 10, gives us minus 24. So you can do it horizontally, but it's a little more prone to mistakes. So okay, here's our example for polynomial subtraction. So a couple things you need to do. First, you need to line it up with correct exponential terms lined up. Cubes here, squares here, placeholder if we don't have a square, z to the 1, placeholder where we don't have one. So we lined it up, and well, even before we lined it up, we had to first make sure they were both in standard format, with the highest exponent first, then the next, and the next. So first get it in standard format. Second, line those terms up correctly, and then go ahead and proceed to add or subtract whichever operation you're performing.